Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in to Bluegrass Home and Garden TV. If you have been with us the last several episodes, you know that we have been bringing back our Pinterest projects, starting with a tomato cage. So Pinterest has all these pins that involve a tomato cage, being able to make kind of a topiary. Some people set these on a big planter outside their home, maybe 2 on each side of the door. They incorporate Christmas lights or holiday lights. So we're just giving you another option. We started with this one, which if you remember, you saw me struggle fighting the grapevine. Note to self, get several different sizes of grapevine wreaths to kind of break apart and utilize. And then we decided to go a little bit of a Halloween one. You know, I'm not a big Halloween person, but my boys love it. So this one actually kind of, turned out pretty fun. I could see this sitting beside a front door, and it's going to be even cuter, with the lights off and being able to kind of play up on that and everything. So now we're going back to a little bit more fall before we move into Christmas and everything red and green. We are going to do one that takes a pre-existing garland and does something similar to this. This is actually probably the easiest one. And I got them on sale when they were 50% off, which at this particular store, they're 50% off most of the holiday stuff most of the time. So between both of these, because I have two here, I maybe have $14, $3 here. These are some dollar pumpkins that I picked up last year that I've been holding on to, waiting for some projects. So we're going to get started on this. I mean, this is pretty cheap. And we could do this beside each of the doors if you had enough room. And I'm even going to kind of give you a little freebie at the end that if you'd like to do a little bit of a balance around the door, some people do a little bit around the door as well, a way you can do that on a budget as well. So stay tuned. We'll be back here in just a few.
Okay, I'm going to make you a beautiful arrangement today. I may not use all of this, but I love the soft colors of this. And I just want to show you that fall comes in lots and lots of different forms. So this is what we're going to work with. So I started with this great little bowl, which is only at 27 bucks at the store. I think that's reasonable. I went ahead and glued the foam in, and we're going to cover it up with our moss. So I'm going to turn around, get rid of my extra bowl. And then I always start with leaves, and this is a beautiful aspen leaf, and I'm going to cut him up. And I want this to be a untypical flower arrangement. So that means I'm going to have these hanging out really long and very dramatic. So I'm going to bend it, and look, this shape to it. Can you see when I do that? Can you do that? But look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And then we're going to connect the tree branch to here. That makes sense at all. Poke him in there, and let's bend him and shape him. Take our price tag off, and we're going to have this. I want to imagine this is sitting on somebody's foyer table, and there's a big mirror behind it, and we want some drama. So if you notice, I've got all three of those branches pretty close to each other. There's not one here, one here. They're all kind of coming out the middle. So now I'm going to take this crazy looking frosty stuff, and you usually cut things up like I just did with that one. I'm not going to. I'm literally going to go in the middle and just poke it down in there. Look at that. And look at that. Love this. This is thistle, and that's the most beautiful color. Again, I'm not going to cut this into parts because I think that's what's beautiful about this is how dramatic it is together. So I'm shaping it, putting it back in the middle of my foam, and I want it to spill toward the front. Look at that. Okay, what else? Ooh, look at that funny peachy coleus, maybe? Yeah, coleus. Love that. So I think I do have to cut this one. Now, I'm going to take it, I always equate this to like pruning a rose, that I've got these great wire cutters, but where these two intersect, I'm going to cut it. So when you do that and you bend it up, you don't even know that it's been, I call it pruning, okay? My process off, and so what I did with this leaf and it kind of spilling, I'm going to do the same. I'm going back toward the middle. Okay, and I'll put my last piece of coleus in the center. We'll stop. I'll add a few more pieces to the leaves and stuff, and then we'll start back up and we'll see where we go from there. See you in a few minutes.
Thanks for keeping it here. Okay, so like before, first thing we want to close the top of our tomato cage. I actually used a bread tie this time, so I've used a rubber band, I've used zip ties, I've used pipe cleaners, you name it, it works. And unlike this one, which I added the lights on after I kind of got the base done, I'm gonna start with the lights on this one. So let me reach down here. Let me find the end of my Christmas lights. Oh, I actually realized, no, I was wrong. Let's see. Where is the end? Here we go. This is a warm color. I mentioned it when we worked on this. I started with a cool light, like a cool color tone light, and it just does not work really well with fall type colors. So make sure you go with kind of a warm light. So I am just going to honestly use this to just kind of push this on here. The good thing about this is you don't have to really attach them too much because you can kind of make it work. But yeah, so we're just gonna, I'm actually gonna unplug this for a second. Let me get down here and get this done. And this is, I'm using what I have, and this is a much longer strand of lights. I find that it is easier to work with the shorter strands, but again, we're doing this on a budget. I'm trying not to spend a fortune. And I'm just gonna keep looping this around, and I'm gonna use this whole thing. I don't know if it's gonna be too much. I have no idea, but we're gonna use it all because that's what I have, that's what we're working with. So I'm just gonna keep doing this. If you want to make sure that it's kind of even and everything, you know, get it all placed, then turn it back on, adjust if you need to. But for the most part, I think once you add your garland and everything, it's gonna be fine. So I'm just gonna keep wrapping. What I do like to do around the bottom, I like to strategically kind of place some of these under, and then I'm gonna go back and clip those down because I want the base to be well lit. So we're just gonna keep working on this. We'll take a break, be back, and then we'll really start making this thing look fall. Stay tuned. Well, new to the show with us today is Adam Connors of Holland Ash Tree Company. We met a while back, and I was like, dude, we got to have you on the show because I just really want to say Holland Ash.
Perfect, and we're here, and she said it several times today.
I love it. But you're at a really big project over in Versailles, so
Correct.
Tell us about this.
So the homeowner had contacted us based on doing a tree risk assessment, and the homeowner had 2 trees in the back in his garden area to where he likes to do organic things, and we had 2 significant declining trees to where it was imminent if he were to be working, he could be struck by material that would detach from the tree, and it could inevitably cause him severe harm or death.
Is this something you recommend for a lot of homeowners who have a lot of trees, especially, and maybe some that have some dead branches and everything, to come in and have a risk assessment? Because, you know, I never thought about, yeah, you're mowing the grass and a tree limb falls. You don't really hear about that until you hear about it on the news.
That's correct. So people should call if they have questions because we are the tree experts. We have certified arborists on staff. We have tree risk assessment qualified personnel that will review the trees on people's properties. It's always good to take a look. The biggest thing is taking a look after storms because stuff breaks, it gets lodged in trees, and as humans, we don't think to look up a lot at our trees. So for sure, calling us out to do a tree risk assessment is a plus.
Yeah, and as we go into the potential for ice, really heavy snow for the winter, I keep hearing with all, you know, the old wives' tales and different things about the woolly worms and stuff, that this is probably gonna be a pretty bad winter. Now would be the time too, because the last thing you want to have happen is if there's a really big snowstorm, ice storm, is it causing damage on like actual buildings on your property, God forbid your home.
For sure. So the trees are a surface area, and when ice and snow comes in, it will accumulate on the tree. A plus to that is if you have us out to do it, we will review, but we also can do reduction pruning. That will eliminate weight from the trees, but when ice comes in, even a 1/4 inch of ice throughout the whole tree's canopy can get tons of surface area and weight, which will cause the break to happen.
Yeah, and I know you're not doing a whole lot of this right now, but thinking about for spring, you all have a lot of expertise in other areas besides just pruning and different things.
Yes, so right now a lot of our disease insects, they're starting to go dormant. So as a certified arborist tree care company, we will review and we will diagnose and we will treat trees based on what the ailments are of that tree that the homeowner will not know what's going on with the tree, and that's where we're called in.
All right, and of course, it's always important to check everybody's insurance, right?
Yes, so I want to stop the ladder Larrys and half price Harrys that think they know tree care. You as a homeowner should hire and establish a rapport with a quality tree company that plays the rules of the game of paying workers' comp insurances, so you the homeowner and our potential clients will be protected when you have us on your property.
All right, how can they get hold of you?
They can get us on our web address, which is hollinashtree.com. They can call us at our telephone number and our website, which is hollinashtree.com.
Thanks for keeping it here. All right, so I just wrapped these around. I did go back with a couple of mini zip ties just so everything in certain spaces weren't going to just shift all the way down, because I do want it to kind of be somewhat, you know, not symmetrical, but a little bit even in regards to the light placement. I don't want it to all just be around the rings. Now, don't forget, if you don't want it this big, you can just clip these off with some wire clippers, or, you know, they make bigger ones too. So if you want something that's really big, you can go bigger. And of course, if you put this on a planter base, it's going to give it a lot more height as well. So we're going to move on to our garlands. I got 2 of these, like I mentioned, 50% off. So ultimately, I got both for the price of one. I will tell you, I first leaned towards a garland that had much bigger leaves, and I started playing with it. I did do a little work beforehand. I didn't like it because the leaves were going so crazy. They weren't kind of like hugging the frame as much, so I decided to go with this one. So I'm going to put this one on the top. I'm actually going to use this little spot here that it already has just to get it started. You might have to go back and do a little bit of adjustment because, again, not knowing how tight or close to wrap that's going down, I want to use both. I don't have to use the complete like garland of the second one, but I know that I want it to be a little bit more full than just using one. So there's a little bit of playing around with this. So, and we'll go back and we'll shape it. And I will tell you, the reason I didn't just go ahead and attach these together to make one big giant garland is because you've got to wrap this around. It's a lot easier wrapping it when it's shorter, unlike those lights, because I used what I had and they were really, really long. Okay, so you can see here, I'm at the end of this one. I'm kind of looking. I want to make sure I bring this one up a little bit more, so I'm just going to bring this up a little bit. I'm going to wrap this a little bit tighter. And then I'll go back. And I will tell you, let me grab one here. A great thing to have on hand is just some little clothespins to kind of just you know, pin it in place until you can get back and secure it really good. And, you know, yeah, I mean, you can keep adjusting it so you're not like having to ruin a bunch of zip ties. Been there, done that. Again, I do all the failings, so to speak, for you before this, hopefully before this airs. Sometimes I don't get to. Okay, so I'm ending right there. I'm going to get another clothespin, attach this and finish this around, and then we'll start shaping it and securing it a little bit better, and we'll see what else we need. Stay tuned.
Okay guys, we left it and I said I'd be adding some more. I've added more leaves to it. I added my second piece of coleus to it, and I took this beautiful leaf and cut these into pieces, and I've added this all the way around. I put my last one in there as an interesting texture. So the next thing I gravitate toward is these really soft color ranunculus. And one of the things I wanted to kind of point out, everybody has their own different take on how to do things. And we have a wonderful guy that works here. His name's Dusty. He does everything online for us. And he has a beautiful perspective of making things that are always dusty looking, dusty and dusty. And so I asked him, I said, I want to make an arrangement based on what you like, because I see colors differently. You go pull the stuff and I'll make the arrangement of all the colors that you would put together. And so this is Dusty's pick on flowers, and I think it's just a really unusual, pretty combination. So let's pull that towards you. I'm going to keep these little ranunculus is what these are, kind of bundled together. I think because they're so small and this arrangement is going to be so big, I think they won't have much impact if I cut them up and spread them kind of throughout. I think it's going to have more of an impact, drama, if I keep them all together. Isn't that getting pretty? I got one more. And then as I'm doing, I'm always kind of planning ahead. I'm kind of seeing these roses, and I think that's the next thing I want to put in there. And I think I want to keep it together. So let's use this rose, which is actually really quite counterpoint to how soft that is that's, you know, still soft, but it's got a lot more color to it. But beautiful combination. Okay, so let me add that to it. I'll add a few more things. We'll kind of walk away and we'll finish it up. See you in just a second.
All right, so I have decided for right now, I'm just going to utilize my little clothespins here, just in case I get further along the side, things still need to be tweaked. I'll go back in and I'll secure everything with either zip ties or craft wire, something like that a little bit later. So, a couple options here on this side. I found these at one of those dollar places. You've got these clip-in metallic leaves. This is an option. You could actually use these to kind of secure things in place if you wanted to in some strategic places. You know, they had the maroons, the orange, the greens, just giving you some ideas. I honestly am perfectly fine if I just added a little bit more leaves. I might take some from down here that are extra that are just looped around on the base and just add them here and then maybe add a bow and I'm good. I mean, I think this is simple. It's not over the top and I can work with that. Or, you know, you could take some flowers like I have here and put them at top. Almost kind of like the angel on your Christmas tree, right? Or the star on the Christmas tree. But I did have these from last year that I want to try to squeeze in here somewhere. Now, I'm probably going to have to tuck them in and then go back and wire them in. But right now, I'm just going to place them in here and hope that maybe I can go back after the fact. But these just worked perfect. I mean, I've got this one that's kind of like a goldish color, the green, this burgundy. I feel like with this one, it's just gonna, where's the other one? See, we've got right here, I need one down here. So I love this. I have this one, which is not the velvet, that if I needed to, I could always put up here, but I'm loving this. And like I said, it's super easy and I don't have a whole lot invested into it. And you can take that off if you want to, or put it in storage and, you know, not have to like do another one for another season. But oh, you know I've got one coming for the next season. But stay tuned. I'm going to show you with this little form, again from one of the dollar places, how if you have some extra garland or if you pick up some extra garland, how you could take this and make some matching stuff to go over the eaves of the door if you utilize this outside. So stay tuned. Some quick fall tips, reminders, whatever you want to call them when it comes to your HVAC, things you should not be doing and a few things you should be doing. First thing, outdoor units.
Outdoor units, we definitely want to make sure they're clear of leaves, which start falling and can get sucked into the units. Heat pumps, they have to breathe to produce the heat and then breathe to defrost. So grass clippings, leaves, anything like that, we want to make sure it doesn't get in the unit or cause problems with the fan, a stick or something like that. So checking them periodically.
Yeah, hopefully we don't have too many more of those needing to mow the grass days.
Yes,
with the way the temperatures have really changed. What about crawl spaces?
Crawl space vents at this time of the year should be closed. We like to open them up in the spring, mainly to ventilate the crawl space and keep the humidity down in it. But in the wintertime, we need to close those so that we don't freeze pipes, get cold floors, and it helps the house a whole lot better.
And of course, it's always a good thing to think about too, the way we utilize our blinds, our fans this time of year, because it's getting ready to shift.
Yeah, and take use of the sun during those nice warm sunny days. Open the blinds on that side of the house and let that sun come in. It's opposite what we want in the summer, but it helps a lot in the winter.
Oh, I've already done it.
Yes.
Because I did not change my thermostat over to a heating setting and I had it on cool and woke up one morning and the house was at 62 degrees.
Yeah.
So I was like, open up all the blinds, let that natural heat come in.
Yep, the light and the heat it's a big benefit in the wintertime.
All right, but the thing we need to do, there's two. One that we tell you all the time, never changes.
Change the filter.
Imagine that, right?
Yeah.
But then again, just a reminder about those fall tune-ups.
Yes, definitely. Fall tune-ups are very important. You want to make sure on a heat pump that defrosts are working, coils are clean. You want to get the maximum performance with the least amount of energy spent, and you got to get it checked out.
All right, give them a call. All right. I mean, she needs a topper, something, and a little shaping, and, you know, securing everything down, but I like her. I like her a lot. I mean, maybe she needs a pumpkin up top. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But, all right, so I told you your freebie here. Pull the tag off here. I guess they use these a lot with deco mesh or something. I don't know. We know how I love deco mesh. But what you do is you take one of these. We are going to clip it in one corner. If I can get it to clip. Hey, I'm getting my heavy duty ones. Watch this. Here we go. Where'd it go? Here we go. Yep, these don't give me any fits at all. Yep, they go through it a whole lot better. Now, the only thing is just be careful when you're working with this because, you know, you could poke yourself a little bit. We're going to clip the opposite side. Now, what we have done is created two pieces, right? With right angles. We are going to decorate said right angle with our garland. Of course, I need more than this. You would attach this, whatever, add a bow if you want in the corners, but you know, ultimately you're going to cover this on both sides. Once you're done, let's just pretend this was decorated, and let's just say this is the door frame. That's going to be there. That's going to be like coming down on the corners of your door. So you would have one here and you would have one here. So it's a great way if you like everything to be all matchy-matchy, coordinating to make this work. So, you know, like with this one in particular that we did earlier, I've got some other pieces here. It might work a little bit easier because it's more of a fan and not a garland. So we would just take this, make sure you cover it. So you might want to do a little bit of a base of some brownish hued greenery to kind of, you know, camouflage that, so to speak. But then ultimately you go in here and you cover these. Or actually, if you had extra ribbon, you could wrap this thing in ribbon and then that'd be your base. But you see where I'm going. This one isn't in there, but we're using it for today's purposes. If you were using various different types, which we are, but I don't have them all pulled out here, you would just layer them. So like for instance, I need to obviously shape this and do more here, but ultimately you're creating corner pieces of garland coming down and going this way, and then maybe doing a bow or something here, and or putting a pumpkin. I mean, you could figure it out. But they would go over each side of the door. You can do this inside too. This does not have to be a front door entryway type thing. So you could even do this over a fireplace. So just an idea there, free one. And again, you probably already have a lot of scraps and extras. So try to just think about that and utilize them and put them to good use and make a whole moment, as Dwayne would say over at House by JSD. Stay tuned.
Okay, everybody knows that when you do a fall arrangement that you use roses, right? Makes a bit of sense, but it sure is good, and I don't care if it makes sense or not. That's why rules are meant to be broken. You may have guessed that I have the gift of gab, and my mom was a school teacher at the grade school I was from 1st to 8th grade, and I always did pretty good in school, except for conduct, and I always got C's in conduct, and it was, can you not ever shut up, is what my mom said to me once. I think it's turned out just fine. I don't know why I got on the sidetrack, but my mom's voice is in my head today. So beautiful leaf that's got a little gold and copper to it. Filling in the blank, kind of bending him, shaping him, having toward the front. And I keep, isn't that beautiful? And I want to get a hold of this crazy leaf. Look at that. It looks kind of creepy to me, but it sure is kind of interesting. I'm gonna cut it off. And I talked about I wanted some drama. I'm gonna lift this up. Poke him under there. Look at this. Look at that. Gray and peach and coral and copper, and not one thing makes a bit of sense, but that's what Dusty does. My employee that loves kind of crazy combinations, and I like his crazy combinations. And I'm going to poke that down in there and bend him. That's what's pretty, is we got some pretty flowers this year. And they can bend and shape. Isn't that so unusual? And let's do this last little piece. I'll use this eventually. Oh, I got to throw this. Look at that. Succulent in there. Let's do it in the front. I'll probably do some more in the back. And this last, let's see, he's pretty leggy. He needs to be tall, doesn't he? Let's see what this looks like. Okay, and let's do one. So I better cut this up into another piece. See, okay, and I'll have this kind of nestled in the bottom, hanging out a little bit. Interesting texture. And the last piece of the puzzle I'll put toward the side. And basically, I hope what you learned from this today is think outside the box, use different colors that are unexpected in different materials. Rose can be your friend even around Thanksgiving time, late fall. But come and see us. That's what I really want. Just come and see us. We'll have some fun together. 1148 Industry Road and housebyjsd.com. You can find everything there and you can buy our goodies. Talk to you later, guys. Thanks.
All right, we are almost out of time, so I have given you 3 just general ideas on how you can use the tomato cages between fall and Halloween. I mean, you could even throw in a couple of turkeys and everything on this one, but now you know what's coming. We're getting really close where everybody is everything holly jolly. Before you start throwing out, tossing all that old garland that's just falling apart and everything, I want you to think about this. Because you don't have to use expensive. We're doing the same thing. This is cheap and cheap garland, people. And you know what is even better about garland like this? Because ultimately, you have your wires built in to attach this. There are no zip ties used in this. We just utilize our garland. And then we'll go back in and add our Christmas lights. So just think about this. I mean, this, if you love those like topiary looks that are holiday themed around your front door or on each side of a fireplace or just anywhere, here you go. Hold on. Upgrade your garland for actually like your stairway or anything like that, but hold on to the garland because by the time you add in everything, just like Dwayne over at House by JSD has told us, we can take a puny, sad, poor tree and make it look fabulous with the right picks and florals added into it. We're going to do the same thing with our garland, but we're going to make a tomato cage topiary. So that's coming your way next on Bluegrass Home Garden TV. We'll see you then.